I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. Whoa! I just jumped off the ledge. All right, hey, it's Nick Shell. And wow, imagine that you're me every day, right? You make 3 videos a day, if not more. And part of your routine is you wake up in the morning, you look to see, okay, did my video upload okay? How many views has it had? What negative comments did I receive? Because it's funny, because I think stand-up comedians probably have to think the same thing. Anytime they go on stage, they're always ready for hecklers and people to try to, you know, throw them off course. So that's how I am every day. When I look at my comments, I'm always expecting negative feedback, negative comments. And it's okay, because again, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm sure it makes me better at what I do. But I have to say this, I am not used to anyone complimenting me. So I'm gonna read this because it threw me for a loop. Here's what it says, and I guess this guy might be Russian or something. The name was Kinkinihakov. I don't know how to pronounce it. But it says, quote, "Gotta love Nick Shell, cool name too. Would like to see more videos on like anything, explaining your favorite movie or something like that. Why are they great?" End quote. From our friend Kinkinihakov. I apologize that my Russian pronunciation is not better, but that's something I'm not skilled in. Now, I think that's a great idea. And again, somebody likes me? I mean, seriously, look at the comments. They're usually people disagreeing with me or clarifying details of things I may or may not have been right on, or people just outright trying to get a rise out of me, which is impossible because you can't offend me because I give no one a power over my emotions because I'm a victor, not a victim. But when I see this, someone's complimenting me? Wait, is that a bug in my head? What in the world? I can't even see it. There's like a glare. What is that thing? See, look, here's the thing. There was a glare, so I don't even know what that is. So you're gonna probably know before I do. I'm gonna have to like wipe my... It seemed like it was like a giant horsefly. That was really weird. I thought it was like a cricket or a grasshopper. That was weird. All right, so yes, thank you, Kinkinihakov. You're complimenting me. No one compliments me. I mean, I don't need compliments to survive, but I am never expecting one. It's like a huge deal if anyone compliments me on my videos. Trust me, as a YouTuber, at least in the line of videos that I do, people don't compliment me. People don't think I'm cool. Even if they subscribe, I'm used to people like dissing me or like trying to. So it's just really weird in a good way. All right, so there's 3 minutes of that. Let's talk about my 5 top favorite movies. Now, obviously, a little disclaimer here. I'm not saying these are the best movies ever made. I'm simply saying they're my favorite. So obviously, their opinion. This is an opinion video. And feel free in the comments to tell me which ones you agree with or don't agree with. And that's cool. You know, it's a collaboration, right? But let's get to it. My top 5 favorite movies for me personally. Number 1, I'm going to have to go with The Christmas Story, 1983. By default, it's on the list as my favorite movie because it's always on every Christmas. The entire movie is funny. Filmed in my favorite year, 1983. And of course, people think it's older because it takes place in the late 30s, early 40s. But the whole movie's funny. The whole movie's quotable. Who doesn't love A Christmas Story? And if you don't, then you probably don't celebrate Christmas. Nah, even if you celebrate Christmas, you still love this movie. Okay, number 2, I'm gonna go with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 1987. John Candy, Steve Martin, cameo by Kevin Bacon. I mean, this is just such a great road trip movie. I mean, that's my favorite types of movies, like Dumb and Dumber and Rain Man. Like, those movies are probably on my top 10, but not my top 10, not 5. But yeah, so I love these movies that explore male friendship evolving over the course of action. I mean, consider this. My videos are all of me moving, right? The only time I'm not is if it's like way too hot or if it's raining outside, I'll shoot the video in the car. But that's how I'm always moving. Because when you're moving, you're thinking. That's how my brain works. That's how I get ideas all the time, by moving around. So I love that movie. It's a hilarious movie. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen. but at the same time, it has a lot of heart to it. Like, the story is, I feel, is really compelling, and it's like a cool Thanksgiving movie. So my favorite movie apparently is a Christmas movie. My second favorite is a Thanksgiving one. Now, by default, technically, we could say number 3 is an Easter movie. It's a stretch, but we could say the 1971 version, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I've owned the soundtrack since I was in high school. Come with me and you'll be in a, the whole soundtrack is great. Even the grandpa, oh, I never thought that I would be over there. The whole thing is just so great, so beautiful. And especially as a kid, you grew up watching this movie. My son loves it too, and he agrees with the rest of us that the original is better than the new one. Who doesn't love Willy Wonka? And it's so dark for a kid's movie. I mean, you have to assume that the other kids died. And then like Willy Wonka is like bipolar. It's so weird of a movie. And it's not, I didn't put this on the list just because he passed, Willy Wonka passed away last week. That's not why I put this on here. Gene Wilder, everyone loved that guy in his acting. But I didn't put him on here for that. I genuinely have always loved this movie by default. A little bit of trivia. As we're getting down the list, some of these are going to contain Jewish actors. And so for those of you who like keeping up with that, Gene Wilder was Jewish. His given name, if I'm not mistaken, was Jerome Silberman, and he changed it to Gene Wilder. All right, next, number 4, Garden State from the year 2004, back when I was finishing up college. This movie, I also own the soundtrack to as well. It won an award. Of course, it contains half Jewish actor who I said last week, who's my hair hero, Zach Braff, as the lead, and then Natalie Portman, who's full Jewish. I think her father's actually from Israel. So you've got that cast there. You've got a guy who, it's funny because I made that video talking about how I don't use any prescription drugs. Not that I don't believe in them, but I don't need them because I'm already healthy as a vegan, so I just don't need them. So for that reason, but as far as that goes, that's kind of actually a little bit of the plot of this movie. For him is that as something traumatic happened to him when he was young, so he's been medicated his whole life with antidepressants and all this stuff. So as a 26-year-old, he goes back at his mother's funeral and says, you know what happens if I were to get off these drugs? What would happen? What would it be like to actually feel again? I think it's a very interesting movie, very weird and like a dream, like when they go into the boat, even when he goes in the hardware store and tries to get the money, like the whole thing is like, it doesn't move like a normal movie does. So I love Garden State. All right, lastly, I Love You Man, 2009. It's funny, when that movie came out in 2009, my wife and I saw it twice in the theater. Like, we both liked that movie a lot. Quite the Jewish cast. We've got Paul Rudd, full Jewish. We've got Jason Segel, half Jewish. We've got Rashida Jones, half Jewish, half African American, and we've got Jon Favreau, who's also half Jewish. Hilarious movie. And I want to wrap my video up today by kind of talking about why I like that movie and how it even goes back to another one on this list. The thing about I Love You Man is, while it's not really a road trip, it's a movie that explores the awkward friendship of two males. And it's funny because I've always felt that way. The way I've never been one to have like close guy friends. It's never been something I've really cared about. I just kind of did my own thing. I wasn't into sports. I never have cared about that. In that movie, especially at the time, I really related to Paul Rudd's character, where he has to find a best man, and he has a tough time doing it. So this exploring that awkward blossoming relationship, friendship between two guy friends, and it's funny because that's exactly what you see in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You see these two guys that are just having kind of an awkward time getting to know each other. And so I like that idea, and I think too that you'll see that ultimately in the videos that I do. That new Manly Vegan series I did, I hyped up the testosterone just in that, and just to kind of poke fun at the idea of masculinity a little bit, as far as how media perceives it. And the same thing with my Naughty Nick series. If you haven't seen that yet, I invite you to check it out, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking an extreme of what's going on there. So I just love exploring those concepts. Those are my top 5 movies. Without really thinking about it, there they are. Again, leave the comments, tell me why you disagree with me. And then if you agree with me, I'll be like, wow, cool, we do agree on something. Again, thanks to my friend I think from Russia, King Kankav. Thank you for thinking I'm a cool guy, and being one of the few positive comments I've got, like, ever on my comment. So thanks. I'm Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy.